Okay, fight fans, this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And, I've done the recap on the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight. I don't think that people understand what type of fight that was, okay? When you got one guy comes in to exchange, well, not really to exchange punches, that comes in to land punches and to attack. Anthony Joshua was attacking the best he could with what he had. Joseph Parker was there simply, a lot of those rounds he was simply there to survive. I don't know if that was his strategy. That's the only thing I can come up with, that he wanted to wait Anthony Joshua up. Maybe Anthony Joshua would not be in condition because he's overlooking him, and therefore if he's overlooking him, he could weather the storm if Joshua landed anything. But the fight never happened like this. But rest assured, guys, this type of fight between heightened, talented guys, it happens in the sport of boxing. You're not always going to have a Wilder Ortiz. You're not always going to have a Joshua Klitschko. You're not going to have those fights all the time. So, give it for what it was, okay? If one guy comes to fight and the other guy comes to survive, there you have it. And it wasn't a high impact fight. No, it wasn't. Anthony Joshua, people could say, well, why didn't Anthony Joshua just come in throwing bombs? Well, for one, he was in with a skilled, faster fighter that knew what the hell he was doing. In 25 fights, or should I say 24 previous fights, the guy has never lost a fight. So his defense had to be up to par, okay? So you can't say that, right? Joseph Parker did, like I said in my earlier video, he did try to fight in spots. I just don't think he did enough, and I don't think he really anticipated the interference by the referee like what happened. Because normally the referee allows you to fight yourself out of clinches. This did not happen. This particular referee had this particular style of refereeing. I call it micromanaging, because every little thing, there he was. You know what I mean? Every little thing, some guys would, they would come together too closely. There he was. A sloppy exchange. There he was. You know what I mean? And it seems like to me, when Joseph Parker did land pretty good shots and he got close, and then you seen AJ kind of complain about something, either a headbutt or, something, the referee would come in, and I scratched my head on that. Like, why was that so big of a deal? But I've done videos and I've said it time and time again previous, that referees can dictate the pace of a fight. The referee can set the pace of a fight easy, by their interference. They're there to help the fight. They're there to make sure there's no foul play, but they're not there to stop guys from fighting. Like that nasty little exchange, I think it was like the 4th or 5th round. Hell, that's what you wanted to see. And this guy wanted to jump in and intervene. He should have let them punch themselves out of the clinch, okay? So, when it was almost like he didn't want that fight to go sloppy or get down gritty, like a fight normally does. When two guys that are, that have anticipated a fight that's getting in there and, and they're throwing punches, man, you know what I'm saying? That's supposed to happen in fights. So, and I don't think Joseph Parker realized that he's not in his hometown. He's in Anthony Joshua's backyard, and he should have took that under consideration by pressing the fight. You're supposed to do more than endure. David Tua endured. This was not a David Tua Lennox Lewis performance. So that was a bad comparison, and I once compared those two together, but the result is pretty much the same. Joseph Parker did not do enough. He did not throw enough. He allowed Anthony Joshua to tie him up on the inside, and he had his own share of clinching. So it was, like I said, it was a lackluster Joshua should have used his jab more, I feel. Every so often, Parker would get in a good left hook. That was really the weapon of choice. Nothing really landed of significance in this fight, I tell you, but Anthony Joshua's elbow. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to see a rematch of that ever. But what I would do, the alternative would be, you've got two fighters that won, two champs. Now, AJ he's the WBO champ, as well as the other 3 belts. He should make the fucking fight happen between him and Wilder, because there's nothing else for him to do at this point. There's really no one else for him to fight. And it all leads to Wilder. Wilder just needs to sit back. You know, he can wait 7-8 months for that fight. More than likely, he probably will. That would be his second fight this year if he waits for Joshua. That's if Joshua decides to take on Wilder, you know. But Wilder did it. Wilder was the guy that stole the whole discussion. The whole talk of the town was, when are you going to fight Wilder? What's Wilder going to think of this? Why Wilder didn't show up in London? That was all about Wilder, you know. And, you know, the question is, did that really throw AJ's focus off? You know, he should have been focusing on landing punches on Joseph Parker. He looked a little cautious in the fight. He looked a little stiffer to me than normal, AJ. Joseph Parker, he looked nervous. He really looked nervous. He fought in a scared demeanor to me. His attacks were mostly to the body, and I was looking for him, you know, he was throwing the right cross to the body a lot, and I was thinking, okay, when is he going to feint upstairs with it? I mean, he tried a couple times. He didn't sustain an attack because I guess he was too worried about the bigger guy coming towards him, you know. But it's like this, when two guys are fighting, someone has to break the pattern. Someone has to say, hey, let me come behind my shield and start the first attack, you know, the first start of exchange, you know what I mean? You got to give a little to take a little. And that's what we had to worry about. When that really didn't really happen. Anthony Joshua, again, he tried to do what all he could do, but he could not do that because Joseph was not trying to fight that type of fight. Okay, so that's really all what it is about this fight. What's left for Joseph Parker after this? Well, Joseph Parker, he could fight Luis Ortiz. I would like to see that. That would be a good fight. You know what I mean? To keep the guys right under the level of the guys that beat them. You know what I mean? That would be a good thing. If Joseph Parker wanted to fight with anyone, he would fight Ortiz. But no one really wants to fight Ortiz. Joshua didn't want to fight Ortiz. That's why Ortiz fought Wilder. So, you know, but, you know, Joseph Parker does have a good right hand, you know, and you just got to see what he does and how he bounces back from this loss, because it wasn't really a disappointing loss, but it was a loss due to what if it would be defined as it's discouraging, you know. Because he didn't do enough, you know. So it wasn't because AJ didn't AJ beat the shit out of him, or AJ knocked him out, or AJ dominated him. No, it wasn't anything like that. So Joseph Parker, you know, he won because he didn't really throw enough, you know. He didn't do enough to win or enough to convince anyone or any judge that he could win round by round. So, but that's what we have, you know, and that kind of just, you know, chops it up, you know, and that's my second discussion about this fight. You guys tell me again what you think. I've already made a video that's already posted, so you guys take a look at that. Here's the one right behind it discussing the same thing, but much more in detail. But again, you guys have been counterpunched, and please subscribe. Peace.